good morning. My name is Carl, and it is my absolute pleasure to be your host and storyteller for the next little while. Today, the most celebrated story of all time will be told like you've never seen it before. Welcome to the Passion. Well, we're here at my home church where every Saturday you will hear people singing. You will see people raising their voices, lifting their voices. And tonight, we are going to hear many beautiful voices performing popular songs in fresh and surprising ways. The Passion follows the final hours of the life of Jesus Christ, shared in the language of today with familiar characters transformed into our modern world. It's a story about friendship, about betrayal, about faith, and about forgiveness. Themes that speak to us all, right? But ultimately, the Passion is about love and the amazing, incomparable, death-defying things that happen when love takes over.
It's complicated, it always is. That's just the way it goes. It feels like I've waited so long for this. I wonder if it shows. Head underwater and I can't breathe, and I never felt so good. Oh, 'cause I can feel it coming over me. I wanna stop it if I could. You know you can't deny. Something's here tonight. Give me a reason, like I know. Do you feel it too? Can't see me on overload. This time I blame you. I'm looking out for you to hold my hand. It feels like I could fall. Now love me right like I know you can. We gon' lose it all. Yeah. You know you can't deny, no. Yeah. Something's here tonight. When love takes over. When love takes over. I'm in love with you, it's true. And I wanna make it right with you, yeah. You know you can't deny, no, yeah. 'Cause something's here tonight. When love takes over. When love takes over, love takes over.
Amen. The Passion unfolds from the Last Supper to the profound moment of Jesus' death, and finally the glory of his resurrection, with music turning every page of today's story. So this morning I invite you to open your ears and open your hearts, because something special is about to happen as Papatoitoi becomes our Jerusalem. Imagine Jesus has just arrived in our town with his disciples, spreading the message of love. You have to ask yourself the question, would we listen? Would you listen? Would I listen to him? Or would we want to say something like, hey Jesus, can I get a selfie? Or maybe we'd avoid him. Maybe we'd think he was some kind of crazy guy or even a criminal. Well, tonight we're going to find out more about who Jesus is. But now it's time to meet some of the well-known characters who we'll be following today. Like all great stories, this one has a villain, and his name is Judas. Now, whether you've grown up in church or not, I'm sure you've all heard of Judas. Like all the other disciples, Judas was a devout follower, committed follower of Jesus. But somewhere in the relationship, the heart of Judas turned very dark. Later on, we'll encounter Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Like most politicians these days, he serves many masters. This will never be more clear than when he renders the final fate of Jesus. And now, here is Mary, the mother of Jesus. A woman who was about to face the worst thing that could happen to any parent. That is, the loss of a child, the death of her son. She was only a teenager when an angel told her that she would give birth to the Son of God. Can you imagine? She devoted her whole life to Jesus. And though many people loved him, there is nothing like a mother's love.
If tomorrow is Judgment Day, and I'm standing on the front lines, and the Lord asked me what I did with my life, I would say, I've spent it with you. Clap your hands, y'all, it's alright. If I wake up in World War III, and I see destruction and poverty, and I feel like I wanna go home, it's okay if you're coming with me. It's alright, 'cause your love is my love, and my love is your love. And the chains of this world couldn't hold us. Your love is my love, and my love is your love. It will take an eternity to break us, and the chains of this world couldn't hold us. If I should die this very day, don't cry, 'cause I love you are meant to stay. And no matter what people say, 'cause I'll be waiting for you after the Judgment Day. 'Cause your love is my love, and my love is your love. It will take an eternity to break us, and the chains of this world couldn't hold us. Your love is my love, and my love is your love. It will take an eternity to break us, and the chains of this world couldn't hold us. Your love, my love, is your love. It will take an eternity to break us, and the chains of this world couldn't hold us.
Ah, yes. The power of a mother's love. As we return to our story where Jesus is now a fully grown man, we find Jesus and his disciples in Jerusalem. After traveling with Jesus for 3 years, the disciples have an expectation that Jesus will be welcomed into Jerusalem as some kind of amazing religious leader. However, Jesus began preparing them for what was to come, a future that they did not expect.
Listen to me. the Son of Man must suffer much. I will be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law. I will be put to death. But do not worry. 3 days later, I will be raised to life.
No, I won't let that happen to you.
Get away from me, Peter. You're an obstacle in my way. Because these thoughts of yours, they do not come from God, but from your human nature. You see, this road that I'm about to take, if you truly want to be my disciple, you must deny yourself. Take up your cross and follow me.
Faithfully for 3 years is telling them that he will soon be gone. Jesus knew that trouble was brewing in Jerusalem, a city governed by the Roman Empire, but controlled by the religious elite, who viewed Jesus' growing popularity as a threat to their authority. Even as Jesus and his disciples head to that meal that would be known in history as the Last Supper, elsewhere in Jerusalem, the authorities are conspiring against him. Why? Well, he's called out the religious leaders for being hypocrites, for not better serving the needs of their people. But what actually disturbs these religious leaders the most, however, is that his followers claim that Jesus is the Son of God. A firestorm is brewing because of this. And as the meal continues, Jesus has an important message for his followers.
This bread is my body that is broken for all. Eat and repeat this same symbol in remembrance of me. Well, I just heard the news today. It seems my life is gonna change. I close my eyes, begin to pray, then tears of joy stream down my face with arms wide open under the sunlight. Welcome to this place, I'll show you everything with arms wide open. Yeah, with arms wide open. Well, I don't know if I'm ready to be the man I have to be. And so I'll take a breath, I'll take you by my side. We're standing on his created life with arms wide open under the sunlight. Welcome to this place, I'll show you everything with arms wide open. Everything has changed, I'll show you love. I'll show you everything with arms wide open. Yeah, with arms wide open. This is my blood that is poured out for the forgiveness of sin. Drink it, all of you. And when you drink, do so in remembrance of me. If I had just one wish, only one demand, I hope you love like me. I hope you'd understand that you can take this life and hold it arms wide open under the sunlight. Welcome to this place. I'll show you everything with arms wide open. Everything has changed. I'll show you love. I'll show you everything with arms wide open. Yeah, with arms wide open. With arms wide open. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. I tell you the truth. One of you will betray me.
His disciples are stunned at the thought that one of them would soon betray him. But we all know now who it would be. Judas plans to lead authorities to Jesus. They want to charge him with blasphemy and for inciting civil unrest. Judas sells out his best friend and mentor for a few $1,000s. History portrays Judas as the epitome of evil. Did he do it for only the money? Did he become jealous that Jesus confided in the other disciples, maybe more than he confided in him? We don't honestly know. But what we do know is that Judas would soon regret his decision. Meanwhile, Jesus and his friends are now in the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus plans to prepare them for what's coming, knowing that Judas is betraying him right at that very moment, and he also knows that his death is very near. Now, according to the Bible, Jesus was by now in so much agony that he actually sweats blood. But what sustains Jesus is his deep belief that his sacrifice is not for himself, but it is for all of us.
Sit here while I go over there and pray. The sorrow in my heart is so great that it almost crushes me. Stay here and keep watch. I need a sign to let me know you're here. 'Cause all of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere. And I need to know if things are gonna look up. 'Cause I feel I'm drowning in a sea spilled from a cup. And there is no place safe and no safe place to put my head. And I can feel the world shake from the words that are said. And I'm calling all angels. And I'm calling all you angels. Father, if it is possible, please take this cup of suffering away from me. Yet not what I want, but what you want. I won't give up if you don't give up. I won't give up if you don't give up. 'Cause I need a sign to help me know you're here. 'Cause all of my fears just keep it all from being clear. And I need a reason for the way things have to be. And I need your hand to help build up some kind of hope inside of me. And I'm calling all angels. And I'm calling all you angels. Father, this cup of suffering cannot be taken away unless I drink it. Your will be done. I'm calling all you angels. I'm calling all you angels. Calling all you angels. I won't give up if you don't give up.
And so, we have reached a crucial moment in our story. Jesus and his disciples have taken refuge in a garden. Jesus is contemplating what is to come as Judas approaches him.
Get up, all of you. This is the man who will betray me.
I will never leave you, even after all the rest.
I tell you the truth. Before the rooster crows twice, you will say 3 times that you do not know me.
Peace be with you, teacher.
Be quick about it, my friend. It is with a kiss you betray the Son of Man.
When the days are cold and the cards all fold, the saints we see all made of gold. When your dreams all fail, the ones we held are the worst of all, and the bloods run stale.
Jesus has been hauled away by the authorities. His betrayer Judas has disappeared into the night, and his disciples have gone into hiding. We are now at a pivotal moment in the story, the trial of Jesus. Now, while most of us, I hope, aspire to be like Jesus, loving to all, honest, courageous, and prepared to suffer for our friends, even to die for them, I know that's a very tall order. Certainly, when faced with difficult times, it's easier to just wash your hands in innocence, as Pontius Pilate so famously did. You see, every year at Passover, Pilate would free one death row prisoner the people asked for, as a way of building his rapport with them. Or maybe it was just to get his popularity up, you could say. And this Passover, the people had to choose between Barabbas, a convicted murderer of Jesus, or Jesus, the so-called Messiah. One would be set free, and the other would be put to death.
So, what would you have me do? Who would you like me to set free? Barabbas, the serial murderer, or Jesus, the so-called Messiah? Silence. Set Barabbas free. Out of the ruins, out from the wreckage, can't make the same mistakes this time. We are the children, the last generation. We were the ones they left behind. And I wonder when we are ever gonna change, living under the fear till nothing else remains.
Looking for something we can rely on. There's gotta be something better out there. Ooh, love and compassion. The day is coming. All else are castles built in the air. And I wonder if you are ever
we do with Jesus? Silence. Take him away.
Jesus has been condemned to death, and Pilate has pronounced his fate. Now, in the modern world, we are certainly horrified to see any innocent people die, but sadly, it's all too familiar to us. What's happening to Jesus in these next moments is beneath humanity. I'll tell you what they did to him. They stretched him out on top of a wooden cross. 7-inch nails are inserted through the wrist bone. Then they turned his legs sideways, and a single spike was hammered into both ankles. Then they raise the cross and they jar it heavily into the ground. Now, when Jesus puts pressure on the nail in his ankles, he is able to lift himself up just enough to get a single gasp of air that causes incredible pain. In the end, he won't have the strength left in his legs or his arms to lift himself to be able to breathe. Cause of death? Suffocation. And to think, he could have avoided all of this pain, all of this suffering, and simply let the fate of you and I run its natural course. But though he could hold the world in his hands, the same hands he used to carry the very cross that would kill him, that world would have never been enough for him if you and I weren't in it.
I'm trying to hold my breath. I can't stay this way. Must let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand. Do you believe in me? 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars I placed in the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough for me. Never, never.
Jesus was condemned in a sham trial. He then died a criminal's death on an old rugged cross. Jesus' suffering was over. However, and I love when there's a however in a story, the story is not over. His death fulfilled the prophecy of the scriptures and Jesus' faith in his heavenly Father, in that God gave him the strength he needed to sacrifice himself for the forgiveness of all of us. That act, that one act of unconditional love would soon change history. You see, the Romans had heard rumors that Jesus predicted that he would rise again after he died. So let me tell you what Pontius Pilate did. He so famously assigned a centurion and a detail of guards to oversee the tomb. The body was wrapped in a linen cloth, and then it was placed inside an impenetrable cave. Then they sealed it with the biggest rock they could find, and they put a Roman seal over that rock. Looks like they didn't want him to get out, right? The guards remained at that tomb around the clock. But 3 days later, if there are believers in the house, make some noise, because 3 days later, something happened that has been talked about for more than 2,000 years. I just want to say that, of course, it's up to you what you believe. But for millions of us, then and now, what happens next summons feelings of deep faith, a promise fulfilled and our personal salvation guaranteed. Because 3 days later, Jesus rose to life. Now, certainly a scientific approach to these sorts of things is that we should see first and then only believe. And that's fair enough. But we do know that Jesus offered his vision of another kind of world, a world in which everyone is treated justly, a world without suffering, a world without pain. This is why for so many of us, including myself, the story of the Passion inspires yet another approach, and that is to first believe, and only then can you truly see.
Unconditionally, I will love you unconditionally. There is no fear now. Let go and just be free. I will love you unconditionally. Come just as you are to me. Don't need apologies. Know that you are all worthy. I'll take your bad days with your good. Walk through the storm I would. I do it all because I love you unconditionally.
Well, I've got to say it's been a privilege sharing the story of the Passion with you today. Now listen, no matter what you believe, surely love for our fellow human is a message we can all share. And it is our prayer that you go out and that you share that love and light to absolutely everybody that you come into contact with this Easter weekend and beyond. And now, to close our time together tonight, we have one last song. So please get up on your feet and sing along for our awesome cast and choir as we sing our last song. Good day, everybody.